So for gospel, and because as Melo said, it changes as time goes on. So you obviously have a favourite at different periods of your life. But I just got a memory of just having cassettes and just playing them over and over again of Winans, commissioned, and Smallwood. And because I love the Winans because so much came out of that. There was a whole family. You had like a range of things that came out of the one family. Then you had commission, and so much came from that. So you had Dawkins and Dawkins. Right. You just had
Marvin
so many things that came from them. They just evolved. You know what I mean? And they're still relevant now to me. I will still draw for them.
Affinity Xtra, be extra.
Okay guys, I could do some funky dancing to this right about now, but it's not that MC Hammer moment right now on Affinity Xtra still. Yeah, I could do it, you know. I'm in a vibe, I'm hype up. This is my last day of being 44 years old here on Affinity Xtra. I'm just outing myself out. I'm just muting all the guests because I'm just gonna have my little chat right about now. Did you realize that there was probably 5,000 pushes in that last track right there? This is why I don't play gospel music anymore. I stick to hip hop because at least you just know one pattern and that's it to the end anyway. So yeah, but anyway, we love The Walls anyway still. Yeah, I must admit I love that track of The Walls, but I'm not a Walls fan. But anyway, so yeah, the harmonies were nice and all there. You got 5,000 tracks in one right there with that last track right there. If anything you knew about black gospel, it was all in that track anyway still. Yeah, the bit pushes the bass guitar, yeah, the air keyboard going on. Yeah, not much on the guitar thing. But anyway, but this is why Roger here on Affinity Xtra. We're here to celebrate black music, and we've got Kevin Tomlin. Hopefully will come on. I know he's there. Hopefully he'll come on in 2 seconds. But we're gonna load up our guest and start as the hopefully DJ Mello will jump onto the situation. But guys, today we are it is black. The reason why I got this more a bit up tempo music because it is celebrating black music here today. The reason why we're celebrating black music because who else is celebrating black music anyway? So yeah, but this is Roger in the church, and it's, guys, you know, I am the most churches of all church people, and yes, Roger is going to talk about music outside of the church as well because we have impacted the world from the church anyway. So yeah, so we're gonna go into that and touch base, you know, because anyone who's been listening to my show, checking out the YouTube, I actually heard about a guy called Teddy Pendergrass, and I didn't realize how impactful he was. He was a sweet boy of the 70s. We'll talk to Ray about the impact of his sweet boy life anyways. Our Teddy Pendergrass sweet touched everyone's hairstyles. But anyway, you know what I'm saying? We're gonna have some fun about the impact that black music has had on everyone's life. But let me bring my guest in. So far I know two are in, and we're gonna build this up. Guys, say yo, let's see if we got some sound levels going on from let's yo. Yeah. Okay, Kevin is there. Kevin, we just need to see a little bit of video there. Ray, you there, bro?
The problem. I'm having problem with my video actually at the moment.
That's no problem, bro.
Sorry about it.
No, that's no problem, bro. That's no problem.
I mean, you can actually see what it looks like, but it's not to my satisfaction. Really.
Oh, okay, that's no problem.
It's not to my satisfaction.
That's cool, Kev.
You know, but
okay.
Damaged, unfortunately.
Nah, don't worry, Kev. As long as we can hear you,
I have to actually.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Once again, can you hear us, Kev?
Okay.
You can hear me, okay?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, okay, sweet. All right then, bro. That's cool. Keep listening in, bro. Yeah. Right. Ray, are you there, bro?
Hello.
Yeah, man. You're there.
Greetings, Ray. Greetings.
Greetings, Kev. You good?
Yes.
Okay.
So, yeah, man. We'll catch up. It's just that unfortunately the device I'm using is damaged, so you have to not see my image at the moment. Okay.
Kev,
but we can communicate otherwise. All right.
No worries, man. No worries. Listen, man. You're too precise, Kev. You're too precise. Listen, Mimo, you there? You Mimo, sis? You there?
Hi, can you hear me okay?
Okay, cool. So, guys, if you...
Nemo, you look very nice.
Thank you, Kevin. How you doing?
Yes, I'm right. You remind me of those soul sisters of the 70s and 60s.
Alright.
Oh, thanks. That's a compliment, man. That's a big-time compliment.
Yes.
Okay, pure tea from Mimo right by now. You'll see this on YouTube. So no, absolutely fantastic. But first of all, guys, I just want to.
Hey Ray, how you doing? You okay?
Good. Yeah, mate.
Right, guys. Right, what I'm going to be looking to do, guys, is I'm going to be going around everyone's kind of experience of black music first and foremost, and how black music and what you do in black music, and how how's black music influenced your life. So I'm going to have we call it popcorn testimonies where I come from anyway still, but we're going to have popcorn testimonies of how black music has influenced your life and whatsoever. So we're going to have some popcorn 3-minute 4-minute testimonies, starting with the lovely Mimo.
Right on.
Yeah, so go on, sis.
Start with me, man. Oh my God, I wanted the others to pave the way for me.
Okay, cool.
Anyway, where do I start? Okay, so I grew up in church. So church is that's where it all started. Really, wasn't meant to listen to anything else other than gospel. But I grew up in a family that was quite musical. And so my siblings, I was the baby and I was a bit of a surprise. So I'm much, much younger than my siblings. And my oldest brother, Cecil Morris, used to run a radio station called PCRL back in the day. Do you remember PCRL? Yeah. So I kind of had a good mixture of different styles of music. I was exposed to so many. My brothers were DJ, so Cecil was a DJ. He was known as Music Master. And my brother Errol, he was Chubasco. He used to do a lot of reggae stuff. My nephews, you've got Captain and you've got Pedro. They all were DJs as well. And when my siblings were younger, so this is way before me, I was just like a dream. My siblings were in a band. So one of my brothers, he's living in Holland at the moment, Clifton Morris. He used to be in a band called Reality, and they all moved over to Holland and continued doing music there. They released a single called Tell Me What's on Your Mind. It was a big track back in the day, in the 80s. And so I was exposed to that, really.
Cool.
But because I was in church, out of all my siblings kind of went and did their thing, and I was in church. So me and my sister Paulette, we kind of just was exposed to gospel, just pure gospel, all kinds of gospel. But my memory is I was sitting down with Paulette, because Paulette used to play piano, and she used to write her own songs. I'm putting her on blast. But she used to write her own songs. So I used to sit there and learn her songs, and then we used to play records. Remember records? Vinyl.
Yes, yep.
So records,
LP.
Mary Bell, Highgate Gospel Choir, and then Winans commissioned, Richard Smallwood, all of that. So I was exposed to all of that.
Wow.
I had it all.
Wow.
I was very blessed.
Wow. No, that's absolutely crazy. No, that's a great intro, because I think sometimes we forget what impact our siblings make on our lives, and it's almost a case of put hands up if our siblings that influenced us, you know what I'm saying? And I'm the oldest now, and I have to say, guys, my younger brother, he was the more, I don't say this, why am I saying this on YouTube for? But my younger brother was the more talented, he's the more talented natural musician. He could sing, he can play, as soon as he takes the drums. When I first got the bass guitar, he would actually, I couldn't clock how to move on the bass, like music. He was like, yo, as he's playing drums, move now. I was like, what are you on about, man? So, so he was definitely influenced, and he made it in the choir. He sang solos in the choir, and all business anyway still, So that's my bro Sean. He's a year and a half younger than me, but he definitely have that influence on me anyway still,
And you sing solos now, Roger?
Solo. People can't hear me, but anyway, no, I sing down the mic. I don't really care, you know what I'm saying? Get my soprano on, but anyway, don't get myself in trouble. But right, so I'm gonna go on to Kevin Tomlin. Kevin, now you may go a few years further back, but I know you could probably give us a 25-minute exhortation, but we're going to keep it as short and spicy as possible, bro.
Yeah. Okay.
The Big Bang Theory, black music. Talk to us, bro.
Yes, I am a music historian. I've published 2 books now. One of them is just released. The paperback is released today. Icons of Memphis, and the series deals with all the creative power brokers behind the scene. who originated from the church and who, as you know, actually impact the wider cultural community internationally. The Barry Gordys of the world, the Isaac Hayes, the Duke Ellingtons and the Quincy Jones, etc. And we can just go through history, and I look at the key impact of the music, black music of black origin, in terms of what it's done in expanding the gross earning of the industry. To give you an example, as of 1979-80, black music, music of black origin was doing over $600 million in the US.
This is what I'm talking about.
Yes, 600 million. We're just talking about the US now, continental US. We're not talking about globally. Now, if you probably drop another 400 million on top of that, in pounds or dollars, to give you an idea. And if you actually quantify that into today's money, we're talking about 10 billion probably. Okay? Black music. And also, I got fascinated with it as far back as the 70s or earlier. I'm wondering why are different sounds from different cities, and they all, although they're playing the same instruments, they sound different. So that's why I came up with the signature sounds online. Signature, because they have character and personality, musical personality, right? And so, yes, I'm from the church. My father is a retired bishop, so I'm from the church, grown up as a minister's son, but yet I used to sing in the choir and everything.
Okay.
But my fascination goes with actually exploring black music, and what's interesting is that many of the most outstanding musicians and singers are from the church. As James Ntume said, there's two communities where we produce the best musicians and composers, is from the church and from the jazz community. All right? Jazz and also classical community as well. So you just need to check my stuff on the internet and you see what I'm talking about. I could talk for hours. Yes, that is true. But I'm just going to summarize it that I'm very passionate with music of black origin and its impact across gospel. And let's just say one thing about gospel music in the US. I was living in the US when Kirk Franklin and all of them exploded. The year that they exploded on top, 1996, they did close to $500 million in earnings when the Kirk Franklins and the Donnie McClurkin and the CeCe Winans kicked into the top gear. So it's to give you an idea, right?
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so
yes, go on.
So guys, and anyone who uses a conversation with myself and Kevin, you have to realize the it's important for us actually not only talk about the emotionality of gospel of black music and the impact on the world, but the reality show is the financial impact, because sometimes when somebody sells your product and you only think it's not selling well, and then you realize it's making billions of pounds, and you're going, why are we sitting around here like we're not making no money? You know what I mean? And I think that we have to understand our values in there. But Kevin, I'm gonna stop you there. Ray, can you jump in and you know what I mean, talk about your black music and how it's impacting you and how it's put you where you are to here today?
Good afternoon, Rog. Thanks again for the opportunity.
Oh, cool, man.
Hello,
Cool.
everyone. In short, the origins of black music is what's keeping me alive today, I would say.
Amen.
I think I've only got to understand and realize the impact of late over the last few years. My first introduction to music was through my brothers, namely my late brother Trevor Prince and Glenn. Just to echo Michelle's sentiment, I was brought up in church, and the only things that we were allowed to listen to was gospel. But having older siblings, they would sneak in the records or whatever they were listening to. And I would say Bob Marley was played regularly by my older siblings, and it more so. I remember the summer of '76. So the album that came out, I can't remember the name, but it was around that time. And also Rufus Shaka Khan and Brothers Johnson's was heavily played in my house, especially with my mum when my brother Glenn would be playing that, because Trevor left home because he went into the police at the age of 16. And I'm considerably a lot younger than my two older siblings. So Glenn was still at home as a teenager, and then he would play that music. But the church impacted my life so much, because if any time I have this opportunity to share this story, it's just the quality of musicianship and the level of musicianship that we were experiencing on a weekly basis, whether it was church services, i.e. on a Sunday, or prayer meetings or revival. You know, I shared once that you'd be at the altar in the altar call, and the musicians would be killing a chorus, and it'd have like Earth, Wind and Fire hits. They would experiment via choruses, and I think the level of even the mindset of trying these things in a chorus was amazing, and I think that's what's impacted me, and that's what's keeping me today. So like Kevin, I could go on for hours, but that's the impact, and I'm really grateful to be in this skin and to claim that impact has really shaped my life.
You know what, Ray, you just cracked me up, right? Because it's true, you be at the altar, right, and then you just hear a lick that you're thinking, I'm not supposed to be hearing this.
You know,
while I'm tarrying. You know
what I mean? You know, you had to.
Yes. Hear a groove, brother.
You hear a groove?
Funky groove.
Killing groove.
Oh my God.
Killing groove, you know. And you know why, Prince, you know why you're so good? Is that you were allowed to innovate at church, innovation. And so you raise the creative benchmark. That's why musicians from the church are so innovative and far ahead of the pack. Because it's either you sing or you swim or you play or you know, when a church sister in the church rears a chorus, bro. All right, you know what I'm talking about, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
You better get in quick with the groove.
But that was the opportunity, and I think that, you know what, guys, when it comes to this is America's Black Music Month. I don't know if DJ Mello's ready to have a quick chat about the impact in his life about Black music. I don't know if he's ready to come in. Mello, are you ready to come in, or you still on transition?
Yeah, man, I'm okay. I can hear you guys.
Okay, cool. So, bro, what I'm gonna do, bro, is when you start moving, because I know you're in transition. Yeah, we're gonna feed into, because Mello's coming from a slightly bit different background. I think we're more impacted from church. We got bishop parents and all that business and whatever. And Mello's coming from more of a definitely impact of the 90s music and then flipping into Christ and the Christianity music. So hold on there, Mello. I'll bring you in a second anyway. But guys, let's go back to musicianship of Black music. Now, I'm seeing okay, a lot of us are impacted by live music, yeah. And what was it that we brought to the table? Yeah, you know what I mean? Was it them extreme situations that we don't see now in terms of playing instruments and singing in the 70s and 80s and 90s? Yeah, that we just stood up, we just went into the scene and impacted so well. What was it? What was so uniqueness? Something you said, Ray. You said that there's something different about Black music. Is it what we had to do to keep it, or is it just because from Africa is the best sound of what is it that just ultimately, what do you guys feel, what makes our music desirable above all music? And ain't no one gonna tell me any different.
Again, I was heavily influenced and shaped by my older brother, so his attitude was all about having a level of expertise. What's the word I'm looking for?
Spirit of excellence.
Yeah, excellence.
Okay.
Whether it be in your equipment, your approach, your attitude was always of an excellence, and And it didn't matter if you were the best at what you did. If you could play, bring your best game. You know, don't, if you can give five, don't give two. Just always give your best. And it was also an arena to share our ability to play and the pureness of it. Because, I think the best times for growing up was when I grew up, and that's the 70s. We were so innovative because we found our own sound. We wasn't allowed to do certain things. We didn't have the finances to buy certain equipment, but we still could play at a certain level.
Yeah.
And it was the opportunity to share this skill set that once we started to share it with our peers of other cultures, they just didn't understand it. And we quickly understood that music was for us and only could be delivered by us in that way. No matter who tried to play it, it's a gift that we have.
Yes.
And I think I recognize that from a very, very early age, and not from a pompous attitude, but knew that we have something to offer, which is totally different.
Yeah, let me follow Prince. I usually call people the last name, so excuse me, I'm old school, so if you can call me Tomlin, it doesn't matter. Right. Listen, Prince, the thing that is interesting is that the same thing the chairman of the board, Sinatra, said to Quincy and his fellow colleagues: can these guys play? I'm not interested in the color. Can these guys play? And you find out that all the top musicians that come out from the different cities, that was the measurement, the standard. Can they deliver what we're talking about? What I envision as a composer, an arranger, and a producer. And if that artist or musician in particular, black musician, answer those requests, he's in. And that's why it's very difficult to duplicate a person like Jimi Hendrix, because he was an innovator. He was an innovator. And, how many guys play the guitar left-handed with such precision and excellence? Not really. Okay, for instance, just listen to Teddy Pendergrass. Teddy Pendergrass came from the church, but when he performed, and if he's performed about love music, he's preaching love like he's under the anointing, right? So it's a different level of entertainment and delivery. And if you look at Aretha Franklin when she did Amazing Grace album, she was in the spirit when she was doing it, right? So you could not duplicate that. There's an emotional feeling that comes from our ancestry that no other particular group of people can actually interpret, because we had to raise to an higher standard because of our struggle. And so we knew that if we didn't do it right, it was a one chance to actually deliver a content that was rich and deep. That's why when you listen to What's Going On and all these benchmark albums, they're timeless because they transcend time and the people who did it. Yes? And I'm going back to what you're saying, Prince, exactly what you're saying. What can I say?
We bring a quality, and I think that it's important. Something that shocked me talking to Kevin, guys, is the music that we go a bit further back to the Jim Reeves and the Elvis Presleys and so on like that. So and I always wondered growing up, looking at my nan, and she used to play that music. She didn't go to church, but she would play Jim Reeves and all these guys. But the impact of black musicianship, even if it wasn't, before there, you could argue and say the influence of black music. I know we talk from a 60s and 70s when we've seen the artists come through from a forward perspective. It just had a strong impact behind the scenes. Growing up, I never knew Elvis Presley was influenced by black people. We thought that was his thing. He never get taught that he was there chilling with Whitney Houston's mom and she used to do BVs for her. Is that right? Hold on a second. No one told me that. You think that he's straight out to the south and he never met a black person in his life, you know? But vocally, now I'm going to go to Michelle about vocals now. Now, we spoke before about the power of choirs, yeah? And I know we can all talk about the choirs, and the choirs is not a black concept because we have choirs in other church fields and whatever there, so yeah. But gospel choirs, yeah, has been for me the supplier of singers for a number of scenes, yeah? And we don't get the recognition for BVs, for how or whatever their story. Now, Michelle, you do rub shoulders with other singers, yeah? Do you feel that we talk about musicians, but black singers who influence the sound of musicianship out there, whether they're black or white, the Sam Smiths of the world, you know what I mean? For me, that's just gospel, just juice down. But anyway, still, yeah. But how do you feel about that as a singer, and just seeing it's not being celebrated at Impact over the past 2-3 decades, if not 4 or 5 decades in the UK?
Can I just go back to your previous question before I jump into this?
Okay, cool, sweet.
You want to know what people love about what we have to offer. Basically, we are sharing the essence of our experiences, and that's what people are drawn to. The only issue is we don't benefit the most from what we share. So everybody else has benefited, and you know, they've taken what we've got and what we've shared and just kind of repackaged it even. Because when you watch like some of these historical bios about some of these groups, 5 Heartbeats was a classic where they released a single, and when they packaged it, they had a white people at the front cover with. I was like, what? What? Do you know what I mean? So yeah, we've not benefited from it.
Wow.
As we should have. So So that's that bit. You asked me about. So what's the question about the vocals?
About the vocals, about, you know, ultimately we always talk about musicians and our impact musically. And obviously Kevin's talked about Teddy Pendergrass, the dope, but also there's a set of singers who does. I'll hopefully get onto Mellow in a bit still, yeah. But you talk about DJing house. Yo, the fulcrum of house is from our singers. You know what I mean? That is the fulcrum. They snap up our singers.
And when you speak to most singers, that's where they started out. Really, they started out in choirs. That's how I started out. I was like 6, standing in the children's church choir.
Come on now.
Not wanting to sing because I was ridiculously shy, and my mum says, at the front going. And I pretended to enjoy myself, but I grew to love it. I grew to, love choirs in particular. And as I just talked about my sister earlier on, she sang in groups and choirs, and I just kind of emulated a lot of what she did, and then discovered my own voice and my own preferences and my own likes. And but when you look at like singers like Whitney Houston and Tina Turner and Faith Evans, church choirs, and their parents as well were very influential. You had, Sister Houston, who was the choir director, and you had, I'm not sure about the history of Tina Turner's family, but Faith Evans. Is it?
Yeah, Faith Evans. Yeah, straight church.
Yeah, it all started in choirs, and then when you listen to their sound, like, okay, they may not be singing gospel, but you might as well be, because some of them chords that they're dropping. Yep. You're just thinking, you have to question it. I remember going to a John Legend concert, and he sang Get High.
I did that part. But anyway, go on, Kat.
And I was like, why do I feel like I need to shout a hallelujah? Why do I feel like I need to shout a hallelujah right now? Because the chords that they were playing, I was just like looking around thinking. And then when, like all the church brethren go to the concerts, and we all come outside afterwards and we're chatting, and I'm like, did you kind of feel something? And I'm like, you know what? I felt like I was in praise and worship.
Go away.
Interject there, Michelle, because a lot of us, and I'm sure Kevin can confirm this, concur, sorry, that gospel music is not just the lyrical content. gospel is the sound.
Yeah.
And it portrays how our feelings were, and it's the golden thread which comes from slavery, and the gospel.
That's right, brother. That's right.
So when a lot of these pop artists will have black musicians playing with them or black backing singers, they want the gospel feel, and only we can portray that because it comes from our DNA. That is a fact.
Musical DNA.
Yeah, that's a fact. So sorry, I just wanted to.
People always try to emulate that. I mean, I've recently, and I'm not going to mention our names, but I've recently seen a choir that is not predominantly black, and you can see they're trying to create a certain sound, and it's about the big voice, but there's something still missing. Do you know what I mean? And so I'm just kind of adding to what Ray's saying. Really, it's just, again, it comes from what I said earlier, the essence of our experiences, our struggles. Yeah. And sometimes I appreciate the struggle, because it's kind of made me who I am, and it's kind of made me appreciate where I've been and where I'm going, and all of that. You have your little Sankofa moment where you look back and you think, you know what, I'm not gonna forget where I'm coming from, because that's kind of paving the way for now and for the future. So he was talking about John Legend. Some of the band members in John Legend's band is people like Poiser. If you know anything about Poiser.
Poiser from Sheffield.
Yeah, Poiser is, I call him the musical tactician. And that brother is from UT, from New Testament. And he plays with, we can give a long list. He's been Adele's last album. He played keyboard and so on the last album. Okay. And the brother has a gospel feel. He's almost a mixture between maybe a Herbie Hancock and all the different keyboard wizards. And he's a multi-instrumentalist, but the way he plays, it's church.
Okay.
Ray, you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. But guys, here's a question. Sorry guys, here's a question now. Now, I'm a churchy boy, and I'm watching these. I flick onto Mobile Awards, and I flick onto these awards, and I'm hearing convention on the stage, and I'm going to the level of you're hearing grime artists, and you just hear musicians, and you just hear the gospelness of it. It does get annoying to me. You know what I'm saying? It's like this, dude. You know what I mean? Dude, you know what I mean? It does actually annoy me, but I do have to appreciate that's what they want, that sound. But I feel like secular music is stealing our experience as our sound, and it's like using it to simulate people. I don't know. That's how my churchiness will hit, and you know what I'm saying. And that's how I'll be honest with you. That's how I felt about it. But when I do look at it from another perspective, is that look at the impacts of a lot of singers and black music artists on people's lives. The positivity, you think about it. T-shirts, how many T-shirts have got Bob Marley lyrics on it? We talk about Bob Marley, how many reggae tribute bands are there out there for Bob Marley? How many, you got like artists like Erykah Badu, rappers, and Soulful. There's such a massive tribute, and I never forget, I thought that rock was rock. I went into a chemist, and a white guy turned around to me. The best ever thing in rock is black, Jimi Hendrix. And I was like, what you on about? And then I saw the performance of all performances, and everyone knows I'm going to talk about is in that muddy up hill playing the national anthem, and nobody plays the guitar. I'm sure he didn't even tune the guitar before he played it, And I'm looking at, and then, so I'm just looking at, hold a second, the influence and impact we've made in the world, and we still struggle to look up and smile and say, we're the best. You know what I mean? We are the best. Yo, that's just, I don't know, guys. You can correct me. Says nah, Raj, nah. You know, the Swedes are the best in the world when it comes to bass lines. You know, I'll struggle with that anyway. So yeah, but transcending that, who are your best gospel and non-gospel influences in your? I'm gonna just call it out. Who is the influences of you? Would you say? Let's name it. Let's talk it out there. We want to go first on that one?
Okay, like for instance, we have a born-again string arranger by the name of Benjamin Wright Jr., who is on over 400 to 500 credits, right, as a string arranger.
Benjamin Wright Jr.?
Benjamin Wright Jr. If you go on my website, you will see.
Jeez.
He's actually worked.
Take it on me.
He's actually did arrangements as far back as the early 60s, and he did the last album for Tony Braxton 2020. The guy is in his late 70s. He was the one responsible for Stop Till You Get Enough. If you listen to the strings on that, he brought Michael Jackson into the scene with that string. This is how he does things. Before he does a string arrangement, he prays. Prays before, and he said, Lord, direct me where to put it, the strings in the composition. And he's done stuff for Shalamar, Earth, Wind and Fire, Justin Timberlake, and the list goes on. And he's worked for Mary. It's gone across the whole board. He's my master string arranger, and he did the orchestration at 2 Nobel Peace Prize functions in Norway. That's the level that this brother is at. One of the master string arrangers in the business. Okay?
Jeez.
That is a string arranger, the horn arranger, and he's a multi-instrumentalist as well, and a songwriter. And he's a devoted, born-again Christian, committed.
Wow,
that's my example of.
That's not bad. So Ray's got his hand up. Yeah, sorry. 1 second, Ray. Okay. You're on mute. Sorry. Yeah, go.
All right. I was just looking at DJ Mello's
comments.
Chat. Yeah. Actually, it was quite interesting because the music did take a huge shift in the 90s, and I think
yes, that's right.
Kevin kind of alluded to that when Kirk. Because he's changed, he's taken gospel to another level. I don't think anybody else has taken on the mantle after Kirk, because he's always re-evolving himself and he's always fresh.
Yes, but, he's a master, innovator.
He's again, that's my personal opinion, but I do feel it was a nice time for the 90s where the young people were getting a lot more involved in music, because we were losing them. A lot of our guys went out to do sessions, and unfortunately not everybody's come back the same way. If we're going to be totally honest, there's I don't know what it is, it's not for me to comment on that, but I think the guys now that are coming up are so educated and have taken it to the next level. You know, they're not just going out and playing, they know what they're doing, they can read music. And their excellence is of another level, but we have to find a balance.
Yeah.
We have to find a balance and make sure it is appreciated.
Yeah. Roger, can we get Melo to say what he's saying in the chat? Share that with
you. See,
DJ Melo's kicking.
Melo, are you out of transition yet, bro? Let me see if he's there. Bro, can you hear us?
I'm still muted. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Perfectly, brother. Perfectly.
Yeah, man. Melo.
Yeah, so basically, what we're saying, basically, in a nutshell, because I came back to the 90s, yeah? When I came back, my peers and young people around me were running worship teams, they were on the choirs, were prominent in the church, were well respected, and you know, they were given opportunities in the church to do things, to lead. So, and then you had that WLB and all that business through prophecy groups that came up, like say Cyanide, Jules, Pleasure, people like that. So the music was there, it was banging, that's what kept us. But there was a wave of those groups struggling to survive because the church didn't really support them. Maybe support one or two of them, but they didn't really support them to survive. Yeah. Didn't help them fund, didn't fund them to go out and minister. You very rarely saw a Sinai do an outreach event or Jules or whatever. They have to do paid events to be able to survive as a group. So there was a wave of that where the church didn't support them. And then there was a wave of all the Bible schools kind of disappeared and stuff like that. And then it was kind of like a discord between the elders and the youth. And it just went a bit pear-shaped from then, and then they just disappeared. It was almost overnight. A lot of that stuff disappeared. The young people were, the main issue for me at that time was the youth were moving on and bringing something new and bringing new flavor, but the church was ready to support and receive that. They just saw I was just worldly. Church politics, 100%. Some of the elders were supporting it, but that's behind closed doors kind of things. But when it comes to the actual church, very rarely they put on events and big up some of the young people that were doing it. And they were doing amazing stuff, and they could have saved a lot of other young
people. Yeah.
I think this is something. I just want to say something here. When this was happening, I was in the States. You see, when that was happening, and when I came back to the UK in 1999, 2000. I became very depressed because you see the excellence in the US. And then I said, hang on a minute, what happened here when I come back here? It's weird. I said, weird. Yeah. What is going on? And I'm talking to people like Lawrence Johnson.
Yeah. Said, that's what I'm saying.
What actually happened? The S-Cross system, the this, the that. What actually happened there?
No, Kevin, something that Melo mentioned there still, and I think that I was backstage and spoke to a number of artists, members of New Life and a lot of the groups back in the day, and a lot of them call out the rise of praise and worship as a major problem for the black sound in the UK, and maybe why we're not celebrating enough there. But the elements of church politics didn't really help because we couldn't celebrate our sound internally to actually stand our ground through that. And then the thing is now, as just been mentioned in the group, it's not our sound, and it's okay for us to take on the sound of praise and worship, but it's not okay for anybody to receive our sound of worship. It felt like that kind of commodity. But the reality show is then look at all these gospel choirs coming up. It showed that they liked our sound anyway, because they all said that these are all community choirs.
Roger.
Go on.
Well,
Roger, praise and worship isn't a sound.
Yeah, for real.
It's not a sound. It's a range of different sounds. Like we've come and put praise and worship as like, and we're kind of liking it to Hillsong, and we are like, and all of that. But when you listen back to some choir stuff, there's some classic praise and worship songs in there. For example, the one song that's in my mind right now, Jesus we worship and we praise your name. Right? Which was that was just like a classic praise and worship song. Right? So yes. Worship is not a sound, so to say that worship came and kind of destroyed whatever we had, it's not really. I think there was a combination of things that happened. And when I think back to, sorry Ray, I'll come in a second. When I think about when I was young, it was fun. It was banging. There were some little systems that had been set up. There were some groups that were coming up. And something happened that kind of just made it all go to pot, basically. I was brought up in the 90s was my time, and basically I had fun, and and I don't know where is all of that now. And I understand that people grow up and they have families and they have responsibility, so they couldn't invest the time and they needed to make money and they weren't getting that from the ministry. But there's something else, and sorry Ray, carry on.
No, that's cool. Just wanted to jump on the back of what DJ Melo was saying. The issues that the bands that he's mentioned were also happening in the early 70s. Like when my brother started Shiloh Band, which was Prophecy and New Tea, that was unheard of for those two entities. And they come from the same church, but that's another argument. But there was so much staunch elderly brethren that really was against it. And they were singing about the same Lord, the same Christ, the same saving power. But they came from two different churches. And these two churches were sister churches, but there were politics back then. So if DJ Mello is saying there was politics back in the early 90s, it just goes to show that, you know, these church politics have ruined possible strong relationships, and we're playing catch up now. We're on our way.
But
we are playing.
We are. I think one thing is vitally important, is that we, as I talked to Roger in my program, is going back to a spirit of excellence and being not apologetic about it, letting people know that yes, in fact, we've actually had a sort of a stop in the gap, so to speak. But however, we have what it takes to actually produce organization and production houses and so forth. And it is happening actually, because now we have.
Oh, 1 second, Kev. Have we lost you? No. Lost his audio.
Look at it globally.
Okay, good.
It's celebrated, but it's past.
Can you hear me? Okay, I can hear you now. I can hear you now. You said that, you know, the you can see the quality, you know, raising up now, and people getting focused.
Yes. Because the thing about it is that they've actually learned from that. Because we need to remember that. Britain, although Britain is the third biggest music market, we in particular as black music origin is beginning to emerge now, because our sector begins to take on new mantles. And as Ray said, yes, the musicians coming through now are musically trained, they've got classically trained, they're jazz trained, etc. So they're not coming in as naive as before, right? They understand their craft, and they're more vocal. I mean, in particular, and also some of our black sound engineers are working with white and black entities in the US. It's just that it's not been spoken about, but that is actually a fact, and that's what I'm interested in behind the scene. And so, yes, I remember all the politics with church. I remember when my dad preached at different denominations, and that still was a hush-hush. He had to be careful when he went out to preach, but my dad was a radical anyhow, and he preached at Prophecy, and he preached at Bishop Francis, etc. Right? And my situation was broadened, because I always looked at music as music of black origin. It goes across all borders. I didn't really care, actually. When you see the Third World Band performing, and they're like as if they're in the spirit, and you know, watching Bob Marley and all the other musicians. And you remember when we talk about Tom Bell? Remember Tom Bell?
Yeah, Tom Bell. Yeah. I don't know if the guys know about Tom Bell.
Well, that's another brother. He's another classically trained, multi-instrumentalist. He's in the same ranking as Benjamin Wright Jr. And so, for me, we're in a great time. We just have to make sure that we work together and keep each other covered, and we'll make it. It's a great time now, because everything is global.
Yeah.
I mean, we are number one. We are the number one sound in the world. HipHop is number one since 2018. Wow. It is a fact.
Wow.
You know. Yeah.
And we need to say that loud, man. But listen, guys, I know I got to conclude off, because we can talk about the colours of black, but I do want to get these names out of you. I know Kevin went techie on this anyway, still, yeah. And we got some.
What's that?
What I want to know is, name a non-gospel and a gospel black artist that is your biggest, that you would say is your biggest, not only influence but your go-to. I think Ray's alluded to whose gospel person is going to be. Fred Hammond. But no. His face there. But okay, I'm going to pick on Ray. Just hit us your biggest secular and gospel. I don't know if I can use
gospel will have to be two. Okay. Hawkins and Andre Crouch, without a doubt.
Oh, Lord have mercy, please.
Secular. Oh gosh, it'd have to be Earth, Wind and Fire and Shaka Khan. I can't not say Shaka Khan. Yeah, man.
Musicianship, brother. Vocals.
Yeah.
Boy.
Okay, that's crazy. That's crazy. Mimo, go and talk to us. 1 second. She wants somebody else to go first. Okay, cool. Mello, are you there? Still there, bro? Are you gonna give us our two influences in secular? Now, you know you can't include SWV Banana. Go for it, bro. But give us your biggest secular artist you go to, and then your biggest gospel.
Tricky one, that, you know. In the 90s, it was maybe Wining's Face G, something like that. And as I got a bit older, it was more DB Power, that kind of vibes.
Okay.
On the gospel side of things, on the secular side of things, why? I couldn't with it. Like when I was playing, it was more the go-tos was the Mary J's and people like that.
Did you say Mary? Did you say OJ's?
Mary J? No, Mary J. Blige.
Oh, Mary J. Oh, Mary J. Yes, Mary J.
Come on from my era.
Okay, so
yes,
so you go for the Mary J's, and you're going for the Doobie Pals. Bobby Brown. We can't say that on here, bro.
Yeah, Bobby Brown.
No Bobby Brown, no Chris Brown. But anyway, still, before we get in trouble.
No.
Yeah, so you know, so we want
over the last 10, 15, 20 years, been no real major influences, to be honest. No one's really done anything secularly.
Okay, cool. No, got that.
It would be in the 80s. The 80s influences for me. Okay. I come up. My main influence when I was young was Michael Jackson.
Okay.
Oh,
the Motown band.
Yes.
So you just
innovator.
Michael Jackson. Okay, so Melo's going for Michael Jackson, and you know what I mean, and as your secular influence. Okay, then Mimo, are you sure? Are you still gonna check this out?
Yeah, I'm like Mellow. I just really struggled to kind of pick one, so I'm not going to give one. So for gospel, and because as Mello said, it changes as time goes on. So you obviously have a favorite at different periods of your life. But I just got a memory of just having cassettes and just playing them over and over again of Winans, Commissioned, and Smallwood. And because I love the Winans because so much came out of that. There was a whole family. You had like a range of things that came out of the one family. Then you had Commission, and so much came from that. So you had Dawkins and Dawkins. Right. You just had
Marvin
so many things that came from them. They just evolved. You know what I mean? And they're still relevant now to me. I will still draw for them. And secular, I was a massive Michael Jackson fan. I was gutted that I never ever got to see him in concert.
Oh wow!
Gutted. Yeah, I've really gutted. And again, Whitney, gutted that I never got to see her live either. I just remember having her cassettes. Her first one where she's wearing the thing and she's wrapped and her hair's all slicked back and it's her own hair and it's that Whitney. And these days I kind of love the vocals. You know me, I'm a vocalist in it, so I love the vocals of Layla Hathaway and her dad. I just love that sound.
Donny Hathaway.
Yeah, Donny Hathaway and Layla.
Yeah, right. The Lord.
Beautiful sound, just beautiful, pure sound.
Yes.
Okay, guys.
That's just a little bit of many that I could mention.
Sorry. I just want to put
go on, Kev.
Here quickly. Teddy Prendergast, the OJs, and the Isley Brothers.
Isley Brothers, you know.
Yeah, I finished, and of course, Earth, Wind and Fire there, you know.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I'll come with mine in a second. But Ray, what was you gonna say?
I know it's of black origin, but there is a band. They're not black, but they are from me prolific, and that's Steely Dan. They've influenced my playing.
Yes, Steely Dan.
Musically, they really pay homage to culture, and this is another conversation whereby they do respect the music.
Yeah.
They respect it. So I'd have to have Steely Dan in my list, but. Anyway, sorry.
Steely Dan to me is black origin because the musicians they played with. End of story.
I love that.
Production.
All right, guys. I must admit for myself. You know, when it comes to me, you know, I'm going to start cheating. And when you had to show, I was a church boy, so I'll probably hear music and it got stuck up anyway. So yeah, but unfortunately, when I first started playing the bass guitar, I blame Ray knows his brother quite well. My bass player, Fuzz's brother, Steve, taught me how to play bass guitar, and he gave me a tape and he goes, learn to play bass, learn these bass lines, and he gave me a Chic tape. Yeah, and he gave me a Chic and everything, because I play like that and just keep on looping back and just go do 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 do. And that's, you know what I'm saying, and I just got stuck on that side of stuff in terms of Chic, in terms of secular. Heavily into Mary J. Blige. I love her live albums back in the day. The fusion of hip hop and R&B, I love that. And you know, from Erykah Badu, and then that would influence one of my favorite singers, my number one artist, Andrea and Archie. I love her sound. I love her neo soul vibe in gospel. That is my go-to neo soul, but unfortunately there's not enough of it. There's only about 4 gospel albums out there that I listen to when it comes to neo soul, when it comes to gospel music. And my biggest influence has to be said when it comes to gospel, it's got to be, as much as I try to run away from it, is Kirk Franklin. I was a 13-year-old. They put the tape in, the videotape. I went to Danessa Gray's, you know, went to Danessa Gray's house. We put the tape in, and all I heard is, he's able. Yes, he is. Oh yes, he. Anyway, but and I try and go over the high. Look, I was laughing, man. You know, but oh yes, he. Anyway, so, and then you try and copy them parts out there, and you used to go, yeah, man, I can do that high voice anyway. So, but anyway, that's another time, another ever. But them the influences, and guys, it's so beautiful to hear the beautifulness of black music, and we're not even touching it. You know what I'm saying? And the highlight of this conversation today is the anointing of Teddy Pendergrass when he was singing his music. The anointing of love. Definitely blame King Solomon for that, man. He sung of Solomon. He was stuck in that chapter there. But guys, I just want to, you know, I don't know if I've missed out anything, but I just want people to appreciate not only the influence that black people have had. Kevin, we were going to go back to this. We're going to have conversations continually on this station about the influences of gospel music. I'm going to be grabbing these individuals, guys, and just really talking about black music and the power and the impact that it has. And we want to celebrate black music as we celebrate also the emancipation of slavery in America, where slavery was, you know, in June. It was taken about in the 18th of June, I believe it was yesterday, and they're celebrating it. Even though, thanks to systems like our best friend Crow and all these guys, they've actually carried it on. But either way, it's a significant point for black music, and that influences on there. And I must admit, guys, I learn every day when it comes to black music. I bumped into a track called Jamaica something, Jamaica, was it Jamaica Funk or something like that? Yeah.
Funky for Jamaica.
What's that? What's it called? Funk what?
Tom Brown.
Yeah. So I'm there doing my fitness.
I did it live. I seen did it live.
Oh, you see him live? Listen, guys.
Yeah, I seen did it live with Lonnie Liston Smith and all those brothers.
Whoa.
But I've seen James, Bob James, and so forth. You know.
Whoa. Yo.
Listen, I heard that groove and I was just doing my fitness on my bike, you know, I was just doing my fitness thing, and I heard this tune going, and I looked, and I thought, funky what Jamaica funk is this?
Clark sisters used that hook, you know.
Yeah.
Yes.
Living This Kind of Life. Clark Sisters.
Oh.
When you listen to it.
And didn't Kurt Franklin as well?
Nah, Kurt Franklin was Earth, Wind and Fire. There was a hook.
Earth, Wind and Fire, brethren. Yes, he loves it. Yes, he loves yes.
Do you know that?
Yeah, that's Jamaica phone.
Yeah, Kurt Franklin used it in if you watch the video, the first video, he uses that.
Okay. Might have to go back to that, man. Might bring back some of that. Yeah. But listen, guys, we here. I gotta close off now, and whatever. But listen, Ray, thank you very much. The lovely Mimo, thank you very much. Looking very social, 70s, jazzy, and all that business. DJ Mello on the fly there, still DJing still. You know what I mean? It's about everyone's party hard. So you know what I'm saying. You know, hopefully he's not playing no party hard today anyway. Still, he's playing some in the club with my God, in the club with my God. You know, saying some Canton Jones. But and Kevin, thanks for jumping in there. Sorry, guys.
Don't forget my books are out now.
Yes. Listen, guys, we're gonna Kevin's gonna hit me some links, and we're gonna celebrate our writers and our people out there that's putting out works. You got GRP with what Ray Prince is doing. DJ Mello, you just go to his mixes. He's got 5,000 mixes on what's it called? What's that sound? It's not SoundCloud. It's on
Spotify.
What's that?
It's Spotify.
No. He's got loads of mixes on this the Mixcloud. He's got loads of mixes on there, music mixes on there, and also definitely check out Mimo on her show about jazz. You know what I'm saying? Cue the jazz. But anyway, but this is Roger.
Okay, that's nice.
This is I am going to shut down this whole conversation right now. Enough love, people. We're going to be going into the show, and I'm going to play a bit of Kyra Sher and Leandra with My Redeemer live. Blessings, guys, man. Enough love, man. Yeah.
Peace and love.
Bless, man. Bless.
Kevin.
Yes.
I'll send you a friend request, man. And you, DJ Mello, hook me up. Bless.
A request.
Visit us for updates and shows at affinityextra.co.uk.